Hi folks, this is Karim here of IT Visualize the channel. They will continue our lab, the Red Alert Lab. This is the video number 53. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have started a new topic on securing Office 2016 based on the recommendation of the Department of Defense and the Defense Information System Agency of the United States. We have stated why we are using Office 2016 and why we are not using Microsoft 365, which was previously named as Office 365. Okay, we have said why they have changed the name of Office 365 to Microsoft 365. This because Microsoft 365 is not only an Office bundle, but it contains other services, online services, something like cloud services like OneDrive, email, like you can have an email service, you have SharePoint, you have Microsoft Teaming. So Microsoft 365 is not only Office, it is a bundle of services including Office. Okay, we have stated that we are using Office 2016 because it seems to be more secure, because it doesn't have the online services that Microsoft 365 has, which make it more less confronting the internet, and this also is an advantage because it will not be facing the hackers or something like this. It is an internal product. Okay, it's Office, or Office 2016 is not facing the internet. Anyway, we have discussed some recommendations how to secure Office 2016, and you will continue for where we have stopped the last time. We have stopped the last time at this recommendation: ActiveX control initialization must be disabled. What is ActiveX control? ActiveX control, as Microsoft definition says, are small building blocks that create applications that work over the internet through web browsers. Examples include customized applications for collecting data, viewing certain kind of files, and displaying animation. So ActiveX controls is widely used in applications or user forums. For example, if you are going to create a Facebook account, you will see when you are filling the fields, okay, for creating your Facebook account, it contains ActiveX controls. Okay, when you are filling a job application, it will contain ActiveX controls. Okay, if you are browsing some websites, it contains ActiveX controls. What are these? They are command buttons, list boxes, dialog boxes. Okay, and they are used also in Office when you are creating an access forum. Just wait for a moment, guys. So here we need to go a little bit further. So it is used in Access heavily when you are creating an Access forum, okay, or Microsoft Access forum. So what are the shape of these ActiveX controls? This is the shape. If you go there, these are the shapes. So you can find in any website, you can find the push button. Okay, this is an ActiveX control. You can find a rectangular. This is when you put the field. Okay, for example, you have radio button. This is widely used in most applications. Checkbox, a lot of things. These are the ActiveX controls. They are small blocks or small let's say buttons or programs that build an application forum or something like this. So it is heavily used in websites, and it is heavily used in some Access forums, or it is widely used in Office products in Microsoft. Nowadays, these ActiveX controls are no longer supported in some browsers like Edge or Chrome or Brave, because it has security points, or it is can easily be hacked. So they have discontinued working with ActiveX controls. If you need to do something with the ActiveX controls, like building a forum or an application forum, you can use HTML5. This is what Microsoft says. I will show you also something like here why it's not used anymore. Let's go and see okay, why it is not used. Okay, so here we can see that ActiveX control no longer supported in Edge, and it's a backward compatibility. You will need use Internet Explorer. It depends upon your logic. Anyway, you can use HTML5, so it's no longer supported in Edge and most modern browsers. Okay, because it is easily hacked and it is a security issue. You can use HTML5. Okay, and the websites that depend on this kind of features or this kind of controls or ActiveX controls, you can use the Chromium. Okay, or sorry, you can use the Edge something called IE mode. Okay, through this IE mode you can view websites that has ActiveX controls still in it, but it will be discontinued anyway. So let's also see what is the recommendation, or why we need to disable this kind of ActiveX controls in the office. Why the recommendation says this. Okay, ActiveX controls can have unrestricted access to your computer and therefore can access your local file systems and change your operating system registry setting. If a hacker uses an ActiveX control to take over your computer, the damage can be significant. So this is why it is discontinued, or it's not used anymore. So let's see what is the recommendation of the Department of Defense concerning this topic. It's saying that this policy setting specifies the Microsoft ActiveX controls security level initialization, security level for all Microsoft applications. ActiveX control can adversely affect your computer. Okay, that's used by hackers. Any addition, malicious codes can be used to compromise an ActiveX control and attack a computer. This is the security issue. To indicate the safety of an ActiveX control, developers can donate them as safe for initialization. So let's continue, guys. Here we say that to mark that a certain ActiveX control is safe for using, developers donate them as safe for initialization, or they mark them as safe for initialization. Okay, this is called SFI. So any ActiveX control that is marked as SFI, you can use it and open it safely and run it. If any ActiveX control doesn't have this let's say ticket or mark as SFI, you will not be able to use it. So SFI indicates a control is safe and open, safe to open and run. It's not capable of causing problems for any computer, regardless whether it has persisted data value or not. If a control is not marked SFI, it is possible that the control could adversely affect a computer, or it could mean that developers did not test the control in all situations or are not sure whether it might be compromised in the future. So if an ActiveX control is not marked as SFI or safe for initialization, that means that it is not safe, or the developers didn't test this control or ActiveX control and see if it is safe or not. Anyway, by enabling this policy, you can set the ActiveX control security level to a number between 1 and 6. So we will define by enabling this policy if our ActiveX controls will be enabled or disabled according to a certain criteria. Okay, it begins from 1 to 6, or we have we have about 6 options. The first option, these criteria are number 1, regardless of how the control is marked, load it and use the persisted value. So if it is safe or not, enable the ActiveX control. This is a dangerous one. This setting does not prompt the user, and it will not ask the user to enable the ActiveX control or not. So regardless if it is safe or not, it will be disabled and it will not notify the user. Number 2, if it is marked as safe or SFI, load the control in safe mode and use persisted values. So if it is safe, he will load it in safe mode and you will begin using it. If not SFR, it's not safe for initialization, it will be loaded in unsafe mode with persisted value. Okay, so it will be loaded, but I think here unsafe mode, it means that there will be some precaution when using it. Okay, but anyway, so it's unsafe, it will be loaded, okay? Or use the default first time initialization setting. This lever is similar to the default configuration, does not prompt the user. So if it is safe, it will be loaded in safe mode. If it is not marked as safe for initialization, it will be loaded in unsafe mode. Okay, let's see what is ActiveX control unsafe mode. Okay, what is ActiveX control unsafe mode? Load. Safe mode, enable SFI in safe mode, which means the developer has marked the control as safe. Top page, what is active control? No, this is the same that I am here talking about. To enable ActiveX control will be marked as unsafe for scripting and for it will not run. So when he put it in unsafe mode, it will be not working. This is it. So the first option is to enable any ActiveX control, if it is safe or not, or it is and we will know if it is safe or not if it is marked as SFI. خلاص. Sorry. So if it is safe or it is marked as safe for initialization, it will load in safe mode and we can work with it. If it's not marked as SFI or safe for initialization, it will be loaded in unsafe mode and we will not use it. It will not run. Okay, so I think here, so if it is unloaded, so or it is loaded, why we load it in the first place? Okay, this is similar to default configuration but does not prompt the user. 3. If SFI load the control in unsafe mode and use persisted value, if it is safe for initialization, it will be loaded in unsafe mode. Strange. And use persisted value. If not, SFI prompt the user and advise them that it is marked unsafe. Okay, if the user choose no at the prompt, do not load the control. Okay, so that means if it is unsafe, it will prompt the user, and if he say no, it will not be loaded. If he say yes, it will be loaded. So here is a choice for the user to load unsafe ActiveX controls. It will be loaded. Okay, otherwise load it with default setting. 4. If SFI load the control in safe mode and use persisted value, if not, SFI prompt the user and advise them that it is marked unsafe. If the user choose no and does not load the control, otherwise load it with default setting. 5. Load the control in unsafe mode and use persisted value. User otherwise SFI safe mode, user chooses. It seems here that they are all the same, but let's take, or we can know from this recommendation that I think the best one, if it is an ActiveX control is marked as safe for initialization, then we will load it. Okay, if it is not safe, then we'll block it. This is, I think, the most reasonable choice to take. Okay, so let's go further and see what is the recommendation for this thing. We are going there, so we will choose. He is saying that ActiveX control initialization set to disable. He will disable them completely. Okay, so he will not give you a choice to enable or disable ActiveX control, even though if they are marked as safe for initialization. So this is a very strict group policy. You will not be able to use ActiveX controls at all. So this is ActiveX control initialization is set to disable. So this is something he will disable completely using of this kind of controls. Okay, so he will not give you a choice to choose it. I think here we need to take the more safer one, which is to enable safe ActiveX controls and disable unsafe ActiveX controls. So here we can see that we will choose what number? He's saying here disable completely, so we'll not use any option. So we'll disable ActiveX controls. That means you will not able to use ActiveX controls with Office products. Something like Access forums use ActiveX controls heavily, so you will not be able to use them. Okay, so this is one of the things you need to take care. Okay, so let's continue. Just a moment. Okay, we'll go to the other recommendation. Load controls in forum 3 must be disabled from loading. This setting allows you to control how ActiveX controls in user forums should be initialized based on whether they are safe for initialization or unsafe for initialization, UFI. Okay, so here is talking about user forums. Okay, this is, I think, is related to the access. Okay, so it's saying here also we need to disable using of a certain kind of forums, which is an ActiveX control. We should disable it, something called forum 3. Okay, so we need to, he's saying, to control how ActiveX controls in user forums should be initialized based upon whether they are safe or not. We have said that in Access you can create an access forum or a user access forum. This user access forum use ActiveX controls. He's saying this, we need to disable this kind of forums to be loaded. Okay, so this is also will not let you be able to use or to create access forums efficiently. Okay, so let's see what is the recommendation for this one. So let's go and see. He will tell us load. Okay, here is saying that we need to disable it completely. Just a moment, guys. So let's continue, guys. Let's see, I think, what is forum 3. Let me try to search what is forum 3. ActiveX control forum 3. And ActiveX control worksheet with forum and ActiveX control worksheet is a typical load So I think it is related to forums in Access. Okay, so this is also another recommendation to disable completely the using of ActiveX controls in the Microsoft products. So this is a very dangerous thing to do, because some forums in Access will not work, some Excel sheets will not be able to use radio buttons or command or something, or command buttons or something like this. Let's go to the other recommendation. Automation security to enforce macro level security in Office documents must be configured. This policy controls whether macros can run in an Office 2016 application that is opened programmatically by another application. If you enable this policy, you can choose from 3 options for controlling macro behavior in Excel, PowerPoint, and Word when the application is opened programmatically. Disable macro by default. All macros are disabled. Macros are disabled. Enable by default. This is the option. Enable or disable. Okay. Macro runs in the programmatically open application. This option enforces the default configuration in Excel user application level security determined by the macro setting in the trust center. So if you disable or do not configure this policy, when a separate program is used to launch Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, or Word, any macro can run in the programmatically opened application without being blocked. So you all know macro, it is a small program attached to Excel or PowerPoint or Word, or some scripts or some commands that add additional features to the document, if it is Excel or PowerPoint or Word. sometimes these macros contain dangerous scripts or dangerous code that can infect your computer. So it is as best practice to disable using of macros, but sometimes there is some Excel sheets that use useful macros to increase the functionality of the document and add more features to it. So there is dangerous macros and there is safe macros you can use to increase your functionality of your document. So here is saying to disable using macros at all, okay? Or he's saying automation security. What is automation security? Let's see here. Okay, say automation security. Here we will choose to disable macros or to enable macros. Okay, here he wants to disable macros completely. So this is something that can be useful, but on the other hand it can be not useful in some situations where you need to use macros to do certain operations in your Excel sheet or your PowerPoint or your Word document. Okay, so let's see what is the recommendation here. Security automation. So this is the recommendation, just automation, and he is saying here that Microsoft saying disable by default. He's saying enable. Strange. Let's see here what he's talking about. So here Microsoft say to disable macros by default. Here he's saying to macros enable. Let's see the other option. Use application macro security level determined by the setting in the macro settings section in the trusted center. So you can disable macros or enable macros, or it depends upon the setting in the trust center in every Excel program on every machine. Okay, it depends on the trust center setting concerning the macro. Okay, so on some office applications in a PC you can enable macro, or in other PCs you can disable macros, and you can do this from the trust center. Anyway, he's saying here that we need to choose, I think, macro enable by default, or I think you will choose the last one. I think yes, we will choose the last one. Use application macro security level. This is the last one. So he's saying here it depends upon the setting of the macro in the trust center. Okay, this is an option in every office product, something called the trust center. Okay, let's see what is the trust center. What is trust center in Office? So where you can find security and privacy setting for Microsoft Office programs. So here you can define the security setting for the Microsoft Office products. So here he is leaving it to the user, or he is leaving it to, I think here this is option is leaving it to the user. Some users can configure, if you enable them to configure the trust center, some users can enable using of macro and some users can disable using of macro. Anyway, Microsoft recommendations concerning this thing, or concerning using of macros, is to disable macros by default. Okay, so as I said before, this could not work in all situations where macros are useful. Okay, so we will continue working and see the other recommendations. So this is it. Now we need to go further and see the next recommendation. A mix of policy and user locations for Office products must be disallowed. This policy controls whether trusted locations can be defined by users, the Office customization tool, and group policy, or if they must be defined by group policy or not. So here there is an option in Microsoft Office products, something called trusted locations. Okay, trusted locations is a place or a location where any file that is opened in this location, it will be trusted by the Office products. What we mean by trusted: if it has macros, it will be enabled by default. If it has especially macros, okay, so it is a trusted location where any file opened in this location, it will not get notification concerning macros in specific. Okay, so in trusted locations, any file that it is opened from a trusted location, the macro will be enabled by default. Okay, so this is, he's saying that configuring the trusted locations to be set by the user or to be set by a group policy. Okay, so you define if you need the trusted locations to be set by the users or to be set by you as an admin through the group policy. Okay, he is saying that a mix of policy and user locations for Office products must be disallowed. So here we will not let the user define his trusted locations. We as administrators will define which locations are safe to run files from. Okay, so here we need to do this. We will tell him to allow a mix of policy and user location to set to disabled. So that means that it will be only set by a group policy. Here is saying if disable this group policy, all trusted locations that are not created by group policy are disabled, and user cannot create new trusted locations in the trust center. So basically, again, we say trusted location is a place where files that are opened and run from it, it is trusted by the Office application, which means that if it contains macros, it will be enabled by default. Okay, so we need to disable letting the user to specify the trusted locations. Let's see also another thing here. What is, or let's have another brief explanation. What is trusted locations in Office? A folder, a trusted location, is a folder either on your computer or the network that you have told Excel you trust. Basically, you are saying any file in this folder is safe, just open it and do not ask me if you want to enable macros. So when you designate a folder as trusted, make sure that you really trust this location. So that's it, as I said. Okay, so we need to define or carefully define this group policy. Through group policy, as admins, we need to define the trusted location, not to let the user do this. He can do this using Office customization tool, or manually by going to the trust center and edit this setting, or by a group policy. So, okay, so we will let trusted locations to be defined by the group policy. Okay, so we can go and continue working with the other recommendations. And it works for Excel and Word, but InfoPath and Outlook does not recognize trusted locations, and therefore they are not affected by this policy setting. So we need to go and configure this group policy. Okay, so we need to tell him allow mix of policies and user locations. We have disabled this. Okay, so let's go to the next recommendation. Smart documents use of manifests in Office must be disallowed. This setting controls whether Office applications can load an XML expansion pack with a smart document. Okay, an XML expansion pack is the group of files that constitutes a smart document in Excel or Word. So he's saying, what is a smart document? Let's see what is the description of what is smart document in Office. So smart documents are files such as Excel workbooks that are programmed to give you help as you work with them. Okay, so what is a smart document? At their most basic, smart documents, also known as intelligent documents, that are files programmed with functions that can help you carry out work tasks. For example, Microsoft Office programs such as Word and Excel can be programmed with smart documents solutions such as formulas and templates to speed up work solutions. Okay, so how we create a smart document? Navigate to the smart document template button and click create smart document. Let's see how we can create a smart document just for the info. So no, I think this is something not here. Anyway, so he's saying here that smart document is a solution, okay, used to create Excel or Word documents that has more functionality. So a smart document is something that helps or add more features that you can use, I think, to Excel or Word. Anyway, let's see here. He's saying that can load an XML expansion package with a smart document. So an XML expansion package is a group of files that constitute a smart document in Excel and Word. You can package one or more components that provide the logic need for a smart document by using an XML expansion. These components may include any type of files, including XML, schemas, extensible, dynamic, as additional XML, HTML, Word, Excel, Word files, Excel files, and text files. The key components of building an XML expansion package is create an XML expansion manifest. Anyway, so smart document is a group of things, think Word, Excel, and whatsoever. So I think we need to have more explanation about what is a smart document. So what are smart documents? Okay, let's see here. Okay, what are smart documents? How we can use them to increase efficiency? You probably heard smart document. The majority of businesses start out using shared Excel sheets or a library of PDFs and Word documents as templates to run their business. Okay, Microsoft Office has programs that provide help prompts as you use them, like in Word or Excel. These type of smart documents are mostly commonly used for business collaboration, allowing you to make electronic edits and share those settings and accept and save. Other smart documents might help you to import and organize content. So here most are editable, either doesn't give us applying smart documents in contracts and businesses. So it is an option that is used, okay, in Word, or it is used in Office to increase your efficiency. Smart documents use of manifests in Office must be disallowed. So smart documents, a combination of things that help you to increase your business efficiency. Is saying that using smart documents in Office, these smart documents should not use manifest or use XML expansions. Anyway, disable of smart documents use of manifest. Okay, so it's saying that, let's read it carefully. It's saying that application can load XML expansion package manifest file with a smart document. So an XML expansion is attached to a smart document to help it to function more efficiently and to give it more features. An XML expansion pack is a group of files that constitute a smart document in Excel and Word. Okay, you pack one or more components that provide the logic need for a smart document by using an XML expansion pack. Okay, these components can include any type of file, including XML schemas, extensible, style sheet, language transforms, dynamic libraries, and image files, as well as additional XML files, HTML files, Word files, Excel files, and text files. So smart document will work with XML expansion pack. This expansion pack could contain a lot of different files, Word files, Excel files, text files. The key component to building an XML expansion pack is creating an XML expansion pack manifest. By creating this file, you specify the locations of all files that make up XML expansion pack, as well as the information that instructs Office how to set up the files for your smart document. So a smart document is a combination of files, okay, that are organized in a way to help you do a lot of things at once. Okay, so it's saying, for example, that it contains Word files, Excel files, text files. So it is something like a combination of Excel and Word and other setting. All of these are combined and give you a new document called Smart Documents. Okay, so this is what we mean by Smart Document. Smart Document is a document that combines a lot of features in one place. It could be Word and Excel and text and HTML and images and a lot of things. All of these are in one document. Okay, so it could not be named as Excel alone or Word alone or image. It is a combination of all of them in one document. Okay, so these kind of documents use XML expansion pack. He's saying that these expansion packs, it is dangerous a little bit, or it can be a security issue. Okay, so how to install and register a COM. If you enable this policy, Office applications cannot load XML expansion packs with smart documents. If you disable or do not configure this policy, Office application can load an XML expansion pack manifest with a smart document. Okay, so I think XML expansion pack, or let's say that smart document is a combination of a lot of things that will help you do your job. For example, Word or Excel or whatsoever, and expansion packs adds, or XML expansion packs add more features to it. Anyway, so he needs to disable smart documents use of manifest. This is a thing we need to disable using smart documents. So let's continue. I think we need to have more about a smart document. Smart documents and XML packages. Okay, let's see what you mean by this. Several smart documents are files such as Excel workbooks that are such as. So smart documents are files such as Excel workbooks that are programmed to give you help as you work with them. Several types of Excel sheets such as forms and templates can also function as smart documents. So smart documents are files such as an Excel sheet or workbook that is programmed to give you help as you work with them. Several types of Excel files such as forms and templates can also function as a smart card. Okay, smart cards provide solutions to two common business problems: controlling business process workflow and reusing and sharing information. You add XML expansion packs to your Excel workbooks to create these smart document solution. So the XML package, it is a way to convert your Excel sheet to a smart document. Okay, these solutions can be downloaded or they can be developed by using a smart document software development kit. Okay, so if you want to create a smart document, you need to get, for example, an Excel sheet and add to it an XML expansion package. This will transform it to a smart document. So he's saying that we need to disable adding or using of XML expansion packs, okay, with the smart documents. Okay, so how we can create a smart document if we do not use an XML package? Add and attach a smart document solution. If the developer tab is not visible, do the following: display it and then customize ribbon and developer, and click OK. Open XML expansion package, install XML expansion package, the location of the manifest, and then available. So this is how we can add XML packages delete a smart document solution. How we can see the XML package. Okay, XML package. Let's see if we create smart document from Excel workbook. Okay, let's see this. So we can go so here we can see that we can create a smart document by adding XML package to a normal Excel sheet. So this is how we can create a smart document. But how we can create a smart document if we not use XML pack expansion pack? So disable smart documents use of manifests. Okay, so anyway, so we have already known this. So this is something not clearly I cannot understand. So what is smart document? So here is saying, also I tried to search for smart document anyway, so I have said this before. So here we will disable smart documents use of XML packages. So this is enabled anyway. Then connection verifications of permissions must be enforced. This policy setting controls whether users are required to connect to the internet or local network to have their license conferred every time they attempt to open Excel workbooks, info, path forums or templates, Outlook, email messages, PowerPoint presentations or Word documents that are protected by information right management. We have said information right management, it is a service installed in your network to protect your Office documents. For example, if you need to have a certain user to read a certain Word file and another one to edit a Word file, another one to print only a Word file, this is done by using information right management. He's saying that every time Excel opened or a Word document open, he need to communicate with the IRM to see what is his permissions. Okay, so it will open for him. Okay, he's saying that always require users to connect to verify permissions. So this is, you need every time to open a file that is protected by information right management, you need every time to connect to the information right management server and check your permissions. So this should be done. Okay, he's saying this policy is useful if you want to log the usage of files with restricted permissions on the server. So that means that every time, even though you have an access to a file and you know it is this access print, for example, and it is verified actually and it is guaranteed, but every time you access the file he will log this action. So even if you have permissions on the file, still you need to use this kind of policy to log the use of the restricted file permissions on a server. If you enable this policy setting, users are required to connect to verify permissions. This policy setting will only affect protected files created on machines where the policy is enabled. So this policy will only affect protected files created on machines where the policy is enabled. If you disable or do not configure this policy setting, users are not required to connect to the network to verify permissions. So anyone will do anything. Okay, anyway, we need to configure this kind of policy. Okay, so always require users to connect to verify permissions. So we go to Microsoft Office 2016. Let's go further. So go Microsoft Office 2016 and then we go to restricted permissions and we need to always require users to connect to verify permissions. Okay, enable and apply and OK. Let's see how much time that have passed. You have 44 minutes. Okay, we can continue working. Okay, so then inclusion of document properties for PDF and XPX output must be disallowed. This control wizard document metadata can be saved to PDF and XPS documents. We have said that metadata, it is a small file attached to any file like PDF or XPS or other files that contains a summary of what data contained in these files. Okay, so he is saying that this policy control while the document metadata can be saved in PDF and XPS documents. If you enable this policy, document properties metadata is not exported to PDFs and XPS, and this is good, okay, because it will help, or it will protect our document from being tampered with or to be hacked. Okay, if you disable this policy setting, document properties metadata will always be saved with PDF and XPS files, and users will not be able to override this configuration. Let's see, I think the metadata here, if you go and open, for example, one of these files, this is a PDF. If you go like this, file and properties, this is the kind of metadata we know. Okay, the producer, who is the creator of the file, security, okay, fonts, customization, but I think this is the one thing here is the date created, date modified, the producer, so and so. This is a metadata, I think. So anyway, we need to disable creating metadata files to PDFs and XPX files. XPX files, it is a kind of images. Okay, okay, as we said before, here document properties, the one that I have shown you in the PDF, this is where it contains the metadata. He's saying that if you do not configure this policy in the Microsoft Save as PDF or XPS add-on for Microsoft Office programs, it is installed. Document properties are saved as metadata when users save files using PDF and so on, so, or publish it in Access and so on, so, unless document properties option is checked. Okay, so this is one of the things we need to disable: inclusion of document properties in PDFs and XPS. This is the document properties, or this is the properties, this is the one we need to disable using of, or to disable something like this. Let's see, or let's try something here. If we open this text file, for example, I need to export it as PDF. Let's see if we tell him file and then export PDF, but let's see, investigate accessibility. No, no, I need to save it, or file and export and create PDF. Let's see the options, document properties. So let's take this out. Okay, okay, and let's save it to the desktop. Tell him publish. Okay, here you see this is the PDF. You go to file, properties. Strange, the properties is there. Okay, so how that come? Okay, again, if we tell him file and then export and then create, so options, okay, apply, and tell him Oh, publish. Okay, tools, publish, yes, properties. So here I think it's still appearing anyway. So this is the option how you can disable something like this to export it as document properties. Option is unchecked in the options dialog. This is what I have done, but still the document properties appeared. Anyway, this is how you can do it. Maybe there is something I'm doing it's not correct. Anyway, so we will go and use or tell him disable inclusion of document properties in PDF or ActiveX output. So this will disable the document properties in the PDF. Okay, so let's go and do this. Okay, it is Microsoft Save as PDF and ActiveX add-on. Disable inclusion of document properties. Okay, disable, yes, inclusion of document properties in the PDF. Enable, apply, and OK. And then let's continue working. We'll go to the next recommendation. Encrypt document properties must be configured for OLE. Okay, saying that this applies to OLE Office 97 2003 compatible documents. Okay, if application is configured for this is a kind of encryption. Enable this policy setting. Document properties will be encrypted. If you disable or not configure, the document properties will not be encrypted. So we need to encrypt document properties for documents that are for Office 97 2003. What is OLE documents? Let's see. We need to, what is OLE documents? It's a mechanism that allows users to create and edit documents containing items or objects created by multiple applications.